What does it cost to travel the world full time? And did we stay in budget in our 4th year of travel? Holy cow, honey, did we have a good time this year?
Yeah, I can't believe that we've been traveling full time for the last 4 years. My name is Steve. This is Chris. We are Eat, Walk, Learn. And this is, again, my most exciting time of the year.
Well, you've been saying that now for 5 videos.
I have. And this is the last video in a series. We're talking about our numbers, and we're talking about this one about our budget and comparing it to last year.
Yeah, so if you've been following along for the last 5 videos, the first one we talked about our accommodations, then we talked about transportation, then we talked about food, and then we talked about health and wellness. So each video, we broke down all the elements of that category and told you like how many hotel stays we had and how many countries we crossed and how many trains and planes and automobiles we took and how many ice cream gelatos we ate. If you want really broken down details, go watch all those videos in the weeks prior to now. This particular video, we're going to summarize it all. So if you've been adding up our totals, you might be clued in to whether or not we're on budget or not for the year. But if you've just been following along and not following the budget part, because we haven't really talked about that yet, This video is about, did we hit our budget and how much did we spend for the entire year?
Exactly. And this has been a crazy year. So just to first of all, we start our year in June. So our year goes June through May. So that's why we're bringing you our annual recap here right now. And the last 12 months has been really insane. And what we're going to do is we're going to loop a little video for you that shows you all of the different places that we went to in the past year. If you've already seen this part, you just skip ahead about a minute. Maybe not even that much, but we're going to go shoot that video right now.
Started the year in Aruba, flew to New York, picked up a car, and drove a road trip to Montreal, Quebec City, Casanova to see a family reunion, and then Western Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Maine to see my sister, and then down to New York, where we jumped on a repositioning cruise to go to Southampton, Maine, met up with some friends to hike the Southeast Trail, jumped over to Dublin to see our other daughter, then flew to Latvia, stayed for a month, and went to Estonia, Finland, and Lithuania while we were there, then went to France for a week from Paris, and then jumped over to Spain and hopped the Camino to Santiago de Compostela. We then went to Tirana, Albania for a week, then went to Izmir for another week, and then stopped in the Bay of Badova for a bike and sail for a week on a little cruise, and then went to Fethiye for a month. We flew to Istanbul, then took our longest flight back up to London, and then over to Ireland, and then for a week, and then went down to Portugal and enjoyed that for a week, then took a car ride up to Lisbon, hopped on another repositioning cruise that took us back across the Atlantic, stopping in various ports along the way, including Cape Verde, part of Africa. The cruise took us finally into Montevideo in Uruguay and then into Buenos Aires. From there, we stayed a month and went up to Iguazu Falls. Also, we went to El Calafate and El Chotlan in the Argentina side of Patagonia, then went to Puerto Natales for a week to do the Chile side of Patagonia. We stayed for a month in Viña del Mar, then flew over to Atacama, the desert, for a week, back to Santiago, and then jumped on a cruise that took us all the way back up to Los Angeles by way of some ports along the western coast of South America, including Ecuador and Costa Rica in Central America, although we did not go through the Panama Canal as this video shows. We stopped in Puerto Vallarta and then also in Cabo San Lucas, getting to Los Angeles and taking the train back down to San Diego to see my stepmom. We flew to Portland to see our daughter, and then we flew to Vegas to go to the Sphere to see a show and see some friends. We flew to Pensacola to see my sister again and my mom. We took the bus over to New Orleans, not a flight, and then we took another cruise back across the Atlantic over to Barcelona, stopping in a few ports, including Alicante. From Barcelona, we stayed a night, and then we flew down to Malta for a week, and then we flew over to Poros, Greece, where we ended up the year for another month stay.
Woo! Man, every time I watch that video, I get like spin dizzy crazy. But, it was such a great year, starting off in Aruba and ending up in Greece from island to island. I wonder how many islands we were on last year. Anyway, what a great year. So by looking at that video, you can see our geography and you can see how much travel we did last year. We did, 60 or 80? No. 31 different border crossings. Right. We slept in 80 different beds. Right. We had 25 flights each, or 50 total. We had 66 days on a cruise ship, And we only had 10 days of house sitting, but if you look at all that geography, holy cow, did we cover a big piece of the earth.
We covered a lot of territory, went to a lot of places. We did a lot of amazing things. And now we're going to tell you how much it cost and how if you can do the same kind of travel that we did under budget.
Right. So, I mean, we left Denver in May of 21. We've been traveling full time ever since. Each year we've had a budget. Each year we've come in right at budget, like within 1 or 2% of budget, right? Over our 4 years. This year was a little bit different. Like it's a goal and it's a challenge to see if we can stay in this budget. Mm-hmm. Now, this budget does not reflect at all what our worth is or what our drawdown is or our 4% rule or 25%, any of those. It just reflects a number that we think we can maintain for the lifestyle and the way that we like to live.
Yeah, and it's a challenge for us because we're always looking for ways that we could maybe do something a little bit different than the person before us and a little bit better and a little bit more efficiently. So we cover a lot of different travel hacks and we share those in our last videos. So this video it's kind of like, well, did it work or did it not work? So we're going to show a quick chart that shows you how much we spent by month for each of the months in the last 12 months. And you see that there's a huge spike here in July and August.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of scary, to spend $11,000 and $12,000 in August and be way above our monthly spend on our budget was a little bit of a freak out for us. Yeah. And then if you can see on the chart that we kind of stabilized through the winter, then we had a low month in February, and then we kind of ramped up again into May. Now, the reason why we had that spike back in August is we purchased a bunch of cruises and we pre-purchased a lot of our big expenses for the year. Right. Probably got a credit card or something that month and we needed to do a spend on a credit card and we pre-purchased. So when we look at our budget and we do our accounting, we account our monthly budget based on what we spent, not on what the cost of the day was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just if we spend it, that's how much money we spent that month, even though we might be prepaying for things in the future. Now, just to make sure the red line, that's our budget. So our budget was $4,833 per month. If you add that times 12, that's $58,000 a year. So that was our budget for the year was $58,000. And now let's get into the detail.
Yeah.
And let's share with you if we actually hit that. And we're going to look at it category by category. We're going to compare it first to how much we spent last year. So the previous 12 months, did we spend more or less than the previous year? And then compared to our budget, and you'll get some understanding of what were we thinking about when we made that budget.
Right, and at the end of the year last year, we did this same video, and then after that, we determined our budget for this year. So based on what we spent last year, we did some indicators of what we thought we were going to do for this year, and that's how we set our budget. Let's take a look at housing. Last year, we spent $17,172. And the previous year, we spent $13,871, or if you want to put that in different terms, we were 24% over our housing budget for last year, which kind of makes sense because last year we basically did 280 days of house sitting.
Not quite.
Or something like that.
Over 160 days of house sitting, and which is a pretty significant part of the year when you think about it. In 160 days, we really didn't have any housing expense because we were house sitting. Right. This year, we only did, I think, 10 days of house sitting. So basically went from 161 to nothing. But our annual spend did go up by 24%. You can see how much that had an impact. Now, did housing prices go up or go down? We were in a lot of, I'll say maybe affordable places this year. Turkey is one of those. Argentina was fairly affordable for us for housing. Mm-hmm. So I'd say in balance, it could have actually been higher. It could have been more than 24% over last year. And
we really did tap a lot into points this year as well. We used a lot of points to pay for hotels. And so we did buy down our total budget, our total accommodation budget by using some points.
Yeah.
So if you look at what the budget was for the year, it was $18,000 for the year. So we came in at 5% under on our accommodation budget.
So
and we did raise that budget a little bit, knowing this year that we would be not house sitting as much as we had done the previous year.
Yeah, we raised the budget a lot, anticipating that we knew where we were going, or could anticipate where we were going, and increase the budget accordingly. We came in 5% under budget. So woo!
Yay! Okay, next is food. Do you want to break this out, or do you want to give the food title?
Well, we'll just talk about food kind of in general, and maybe yeah.
Okay, so we spent $13,278 compared to the previous year of $13,513. So just $235 less. So a negative 2%. So we spent 2% less this year than last year on food. If you look at the budget was $14,800 for food, coming in at 10% under budget. I think this is really surprising, considering how much food prices have gone up around the world. Or gasoline, how much food prices have gone up around the world, and for us to be in at 10% under, I think that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, so the bottom line is we basically spent the same amount that we spent a year ago, but we have seen higher prices for food. So we anticipated prices being higher, but I don't know, but maybe we ate less.
Yeah, we projected a larger budget and we came in under budget. But if we're going to just break that out by food, eating out versus groceries, we'll show the next two line items on our spreadsheet, and you can see just in summary, we had a 1% decrease in the amount of eating out, a 4% decrease in food and groceries compared to the previous year, or compared to our budget. We were 13% under in eating out and 1% under in groceries. I think the 13% under in eating out was because we actually ate in a lot. We were in some places that food was more expensive than we thought it was going to be. Argentina was one, Turkey was one, where eating out was just like strangely more expensive than the groceries. And so we ended up staying in a lot and cooking.
And also this relates to maybe house sitting a little bit. When, house sitting is you have a nice kitchen, you anticipate cooking more at home. And I think we increased the budget for a lot of reasons, and it wound up coming under budget.
Yeah. But just because we've been under budget so far does not mean we were under budget for the whole year. So keep on staying in as we tell you the rest of the numbers. And by the way, if you like this type of video, would you please subscribe and then give us a little comment. Do you like the numbers? Do you not like the numbers? Do you want more numbers? Are we too mouthy? Are we too wordy? Are we not succinct enough? Whatever. Give us some feedback, because what you tell us really guides us on what our next video looks like. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about travel for the next category. So travel is, transit, the cruises, if you've watched our other videos, we break cruises out into 4 different categories, planes, trains, automobiles, whatever. So last year we spent $9,393 against the third year of $12,666, or we were under budget compared to our third year of $3,200. We were under by 26%. Right. Now, we anticipated this because we did some big travel in our third year. We went back and forth to Australia and did a bunch of travel in Australia and a bunch of travel in the U.S. So we anticipated that we thought our travel expense would be less. Our budget was $11,000. We came in at under 15%. I am so shocked by this number because we did so much more travel this year than we thought we would do.
66 days on a cruise ship. We flew 25 times, and we were...
and how many border crossings? 31 border crossings? Because every time you move, that costs you money. And I can't, we moved lots this past year, and I'm really surprised that we came in under 15%.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too. We must be doing some good... hunting for great deals on transportation.
Yeah, and we use the points a lot for transportation. We usually just pay cash for transportation.
We rented cars for I think 30 days.
And we did that bike and sail cruise.
Bike and sail, yeah. So it was
all right.
Moved around a lot.
Next category, this is where we blow it. Health and wellness. Everybody knows insurance goes up and medical costs go up. Well, it did for us too. So we spent $5,762 compared to the previous year of $2,323, or a difference of 148% over budget. We actually ended up, the budget was $4,800. We were $962 over, or an overage of 20%. We can explain this pretty well.
We can explain it pretty well. We did some wellness visits in Fethiye, Turkey. We also had a higher insurance costs, higher costs than we anticipated as well.
And you can make sure to watch our insurance video. That was the one that we did last week. A lot of questions about that. People are always asking us how much medical insurance costs, how much insurance costs, how do we see doctors, how do we get scripts. We cover that in last week's video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So over by 20%. So the budget's starting to look a little bit wonky, honey. And then the shopping gene. This is the next category. So shopping, we spent $3,865 versus $3,640 from the previous year. 6% over versus the previous year. Our budget was $3,600 or over by 7%.
And we don't buy things, so you see the numbers are relatively small.
We say we don't buy anything, but I have to say when we know we're coming through into the U.S., that Amazon order gets really big, and that order at REI gets gigantic. We arrive at our family's house, and there's boxes and boxes and boxes of the stuff that we've ordered. So we'll replace our shoes, we'll replace some of our clothing.
Anytime we get something new, we got to get rid of something because we have carry-on luggage only, and it's full.
And if you want to see our shoe recommendations on our website at EatWalkLearn.com, we have a gear page, and we recommend our shoes and our luggage and our jackets. So those are definitely, if you're interested in what those are, take a look at EatWalkLearn.com, go to the gear page. Okay, next up, entertainment. We fail at this so bad. So our entertainment, last year we spent $2,990 versus the previous year, which we actually did really well on, $4,215, or we were under budget compared to the previous year by 29%. If you versus our budget, we were under budget. The budget was $4,000. We were under budget on entertainment by 25%.
Right.
And we actually sat down last year at the end of the year and looked at our budget numbers, and we're like, okay, we really need to spend more money on entertainment. We need to go enjoy the world.
But
the problem is what we like to do is free.
Yeah, but we've done some really amazing things this year. We went zip lining. We're on cruises, and we're constantly doing entertainment.
We got e-bikes a couple times.
E-bikes. So there's a lot of things that we do that we put into that entertainment, that fun category, and we're just gonna have to do better, having more fun.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? You guys tell us what our budget should be for entertainment this year. And give us some suggestions about
ideas.
things we need to do.
What are things
we need to do?
We should go skydiving.
No. If the plane works, I'm not jumping out of it.
What should we do?
Okay, we need your help. What should our budget be? So this year the budget was $4,000. What should our budget be? And tell us one thing we have to do. We're not going to tell you where we're going to. It doesn't matter where we're going to be because you can do almost anything anywhere. Tell us something we have to do this year. We need help on the entertainment budget. We need help on how to spend money on entertainment. Okay? And I don't want to do like a food tasting. I think like a fine dining thing, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, we don't do that a lot.
Yeah. So. Well, maybe we should. Maybe we should do that.
We should do that every day.
Okay, last item on the budget, bills and utilities. This is cell phone and mail. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
So this year we spent $1,336 compared to the previous year of $1,538, or under 13%. We had a budget of $1,800. We came in way under by 26% on our bills and utilities.
I think we're just getting really good at finding great deals on SIM cards. It feels like the prices have come down.
Yeah.
Not
SIM cards, eSIMs.
Well, yeah, on data, on wireless data.
Yeah.
Competition in that area, I think, is growing, and I think that's a big chunk of what we're spending. Although, actually, it's not that big.
Well, actually, a big number that's in there is cell phones on cruise ships. We found GigSky. If you don't know about GigSky, we'll put our link for GigSky down below. But you can use GigSky on the cruise ships now, and you don't have to pay for the cruise ship internet, and that's about a third of the price. So that has brought this down some. So anyway,
yeah.
All right. If you're all drum roll. Ready for the total? Okay. This year, we spent $53,796 versus the previous year of $51,766, or a 4% increase over the previous year.
Yeah.
But the previous year, we said, with inflation and all the things going on around the world, we're going to increase the budget by 10%. Well, our budget went up to $58,000 last year. We came in under budget again. Woo-hoo! Under by $4,204 or 7%. That's significant. 7% when there's 7% inflation around. I think we did pretty good.
I think with the amazing amount of travel that we did and the incredible things that we did, to only spend 4% more than the previous year. Yes, there is inflation, and we're either figuring out a way to mitigate that, or it's not as bad.
And if you need help, and Steve did a great video on how to put a budget together. We'll put that up here if you want to see how to put a budget together. Anyway, that's our spend for the year. We hope you have enjoyed this series of how we broke everything down. Was it too much? Was it not enough? Tell us.
Yeah, so we're now in the process of budgeting for next year. Let me know if you want me to do a video, if you want to see that in a video of our budget process for next year. But we've got some big plans. Big plans coming. So you got to stay with us, because we're going to be making some announcements.
Big announcements soon. Coming. Yeah. Okay, we love you guys. Thank you very much. Love your feedback. Stay tuned. Like us, enjoy us, subscribe to us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.